Welcome back to Sneaker Impact News. I'm your host, Brian the Botanist, and today I have a special guest interview with Charles Van Schaik. Charles is a father of three, two daughters and a son, and lives in the Netherlands in a city called The Hague. His professional career spans 30 plus years in the retail and footwear industry, from store manager and run specialty to sales rep for Reebok, then overseeing the Asics European running market, where he worked closely with last week's guest, Terry Shallow. Charles then helped lead Crocs as their product director for the Europe market before joining forces with Tom's, where he cut his teeth in social enterprise and realized his passion for companies with a social purpose. Charles soon met Mo, the founder of Sneaker Impact, and the two struck up a partnership to introduce Sneaker Impact to the European market last October. He's worked closely with his son, Jordy, recently focusing on the Netherlands to learn as much as they can before opening up the European market. It's been a crazy journey with many highs and lows for Charles. Today, we get to know the man who has partnered with Sneaker Impact and brings immeasurable experience and connections to the brand. Welcome, Charles. How are you?
Doing well, Brian. Thank you very much for this nice introduction. Joining here from the Netherlands, a city called The Hague. And the painting behind me is one of the famous squares of The Hague.
That's awesome. How do we pronounce your last name? We were chatting before the call about this.
Van Schaik.
Okay, and that is a very particular way. I tried to do it 10 times and couldn't quite get it right as a Midwestern.
You're not you're Brian, you're definitely not the only one. There's a lot of people making their tongue over Van Schaik.
And what does that mean? Does it have a family history, lineage?
Yeah, it has a history, but it's not really interesting. It's just a name that's coming from a little farmer's village here in the Netherlands.
It's a cool name, and you're a cool dude. I got to meet you last summer in Miami. You and your son, Jordy, came by the Sneaker Impact headquarters. And today we get the opportunity to learn about your story. So please share your background with us.
Started in a long time ago, 30 plus years ago. So that's probably saying something about my age. In the sports industry, first in a running specialty store where I worked for 7 years. It was one of the first running specialty stores in the Netherlands, was late 80s. And yeah, we had a particular way of testing people. We had no high-tech equipment, but you could go outside and run from light post to light post, and we would tell you your running style, it's a measurement, etc. And one of our
gait
analysis, and one of our first and actually most famous client probably we had, it was the American ambassador, Paul Brenner III. He came with his security entourage to buy running shoes. That was a kind of fun experience. Guys coming in, all the security, and we take them outside to do a gait analysis. So that was fun.
So you started in run retail. How did you make the move to these big brands like Reebok and Asics?
I was actually asked to become a sales rep at Reebok, the Netherlands, the Dutch organization. And from there, I moved into Asics. Asics was looking for a product manager. But soon after that, the European organization moved from Germany to the Netherlands. I joined the European organization as the running manager, and later on overseeing all the running, basically footwear, not the apparel, the footwear business for running the product part for the European market. And that was working in close harmony with our worldwide partners. So I was working a lot with the American colleagues, but also with the Australian colleague and Japanese colleague to basically make sure that we have a worldwide collection that was suitable for all parts of the world.
So you were working in product development. Did you help with the design of the running shoes and the brand, like the marketing? What type of aspects of the running industry, particular with Reebok and Asics?
If I start designing, probably companies will go bankrupt. Yeah. That's definitely not my strong point. Now, we were basically focusing on the technology. We also worked in close harmony with R&D. That was in Kobe. There's an R&D center from Asics and some outside consultants. And there we were looking at gait analysis, how we could influence it by footwear. And that was mainly what we were doing, writing concepts, looking at designs. But yeah, in Asics, everything is about functionality. It's first function and then looks. So it was a really cool experience.
So helping runners run better, like pronation control, dual density foams and things to support different foot types.
Yeah, correct. And
I've worked in running stores.
Yeah, that's the whole game of running, isn't it? It's nice how the running market is still evolving, actually pretty rapidly in the last 5 to 6 years.
Next, after Asics and Reebok, you went to Crocs.
Yeah.
And then Tom. So Tell us about those companies and how you help them in the European market.
Well, Crocs was a one-shoe wonder and was a little bit of a risk. So I was hired to do more diversification in the product offering for the European market. But that's also, you basically always work like with a worldwide team. So everybody has his own agenda. But the outcome basically has to be that there's a worldwide collection where all parts of the world can serve their markets with. So you work a lot with your colleagues abroad, traveled a lot to the US in these days, also for Asics, but also for Asics a lot to Japan. For Crocs, it was more like into the Boulder area where the office was. So doing a lot of traveling, a lot of research, of course, consumer research, but also like doing a lot of talking to your colleagues and how we could support each other in getting a stronger collection over there.
That leads me to my next question, the differences between the European and American markets and mentality about the recycling industry and sustainability in general. We're now moving into the relationship with Sneaker Impact and how I met Mo.
I actually met Mo through LinkedIn. We were both reacting on an article on LinkedIn and just shoot me a short message like, hey, can we have a little conversation? I'm normally like, okay, there we have somebody again. But I was like, I looked at Mo and I was like, hey, Sneaker Impact. Looks like a very cool story. We got on the phone and we had a conversation about Sneaker Impact, what Mo's setting up. And he had the same question as you. You're Europeans. You are looking totally different to recycling than Americans. And I was, yeah, we are. If I look into my garden, I would say, what have your garden to do with recycling? But I have 5 bins in my garden for all different types of trash. We have plastic, we have paper, we have general trash, we have garden trash, and they are all picked up on different days so that they can really separate everything over there.
Is that like required?
That's definitely required. Yeah.
Okay.
So
and you will be fine. You do it, I'm sure, because you want to. But
no,
it's
you
required.
want to. And that's the cool thing, recycling and looking at the environment. Well, when we were at Tom's, one of the big projects was how to become more sustainable, taking plastic out of the equation, not packaging in plastic, having more recyclable upper materials. So basically there it was put into my DNA to make sure that you are thoughtful about what you're doing with the environment and so what you throw away and what you can reuse.
So Tom's was where you first learned about social enterprises and
Yeah.
social purpose, and that really resonated. Were you environmentally friendly before that?
But the thing with Tom's was I was working for Crocs and I made the decision for myself that I wanted to work for a European company, not an American company. Nothing against Americans, but it was a pretty rough ride. I was like, I want to relax a little bit, do it a little bit different. And then Tom's came on and asked me if I wanted to join. I was like, guys, give me a good reason. Why would I join? And they were like, okay, just buy the book from Blake Bukowski, read it, and we will contact you in a week. I was reading the book and Blake founded Tom's because he saw that people didn't have footwear in Argentina. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. And he was like, and every shoe I will sell, I will give a shoe to a kid in need. And I was like, oh, whoa, that's actually a pretty nice concept for a for-profit company. So the social enterprise was introduced at that moment to me. I contacted some old colleagues. I'm a little bit skeptic. I'm Dutch. So they were like, do they really live what they were saying? And they were like, yeah. I started working at Tom's. And the cool thing at Tom's is that after 2 years, you can join a giving trip. So you go to one of the NGOs and you go to measure kids' feet and give them the shoes and see what the impact is. And there I met Padre Miguel. And that is something that is a really nice link to Sneaker Impact. Padre Miguel told me, and he's in Peru, he was like, Charles, there's one thing that's really important in life. Never reward people to be poor. If you start rewarding people to be poor, they will always be dependent on what they get. So when I was talking with Mo, and he mentioned the microcredit companies, they can provide for themselves, they can provide for the community. I straight away had to think about Padre Miguel, that concept what Mo has. Give sneakers a second, and that was really resonating with me. And of course, Mo said, hop in a plane, come to Miami, come take a look at the company, and let's see if we can do something together. If we can work together, you guys can start working on Europe if you liked it. We hopped in the plane, came over to Sneaker Impact, met you, met Mo, of course, and I was really impressed. what I was seeing over there, meeting the people that are buying the shoes, meeting the people that are sorting the shoes. I see the community of Sneaker Impact, the people that are working over there. I was really impressed in how the whole company was set up and how all values that Mo was talking about were actually straight away visible, where you could see this is a guy that really caring about his community, but also really caring about what he's doing and how he's setting up his business.
Yeah, it was really cool to have you and to meet your son Jordy here.
Yeah,
Can you tell us about how Jordy has gotten involved and the work you guys have done in the last year with Sneaker Impact? I know you were at the Berlin Marathon.
yeah. Jordy's my son, and he's doing.
How old is he?
He's 19 right now. He was looking around for another job. He's discovering what he wants in his life, and I said, "Okay, let's see what we can do." And he was not working for Sneaker Impact at that moment in time. I was like, "Join me. We go to the Rotterdam Marathon fair. We're going to promote Sneaker Impact together with the Hardloopwinkel." Very hard name to pronounce, but that's one of the running specialty stores that was basically supporting us from day one. And they gave us also a spot on the Rotterdam Marathon. And I was also impressed by Jordy. He was like talking to people, chatting people up, explaining the story. And I was like, yeah, you could see he had a good time and he was enjoying it. And so he went on to do his own thing. I went on trying to build Sneaker Impact over here. And on a certain moment of time, I was talking to him. I was like, yeah, listen, I need somebody for 8 to 10 hours a week just to do phone calls, do Instagram. And we ended up hiring Jordi. So he's joining Sneaker Impact now as an official employee.
That's awesome. 2 generations of Van Schaiks.
That's a quick one.
Yes. So the Rotterdam Marathon in Germany, that's a legendary marathon. And then Berlin, you had the opportunity to get Sneaker Impact at the Berlin Marathon.
Yeah, it's really nice. You can see that's a kind of movement in Europe that's going on. I was invited by Wink, and they're building like running apparel that take everything in consideration with the environment. So that they're working with all kinds of alternative materials. What's really hard with footwear, of course, because your TPU and your EVA, your midsole material is still like pretty chemical. But all the other stuff, these guys have pretty much under control. So they invited us to be there on their booth and to support them, like getting shoes from their consumers and put them in the Sneaker Impact box.
That's awesome. So you're our European distributor and partner, is my understanding, in the Netherlands. So we have a collection center in The Hague. Is that where you're
Yeah,
collecting and distributing
yeah,
them to the next process?
yeah, correct. I work
Okay.
in logistics for an apparel company called Butcher of Blue. And these guys told me, okay, hey, we actually think it's really cool what you're doing. And we have a big logistic area over there. And they were like, pick a spot. We give you like so many square meters as you need. So you can do your Sneaker Impact thing and you can collect also the sneakers over there. So we have an address. We have a logistics center. That's actually way too big for us. And we have something where we can store all the shoes that we are collecting right now till we are able to ship them.
So tell us about shoe recycling in Europe and how it might be different than the US and how many shoes are recycled in Europe. Because I know in the United States, the statistic recently, according to Google, is only 13% of shoes are recycled annually and up to 400 million are thrown away each year in the US, 87% not being recycled. How many people are recycling in Europe and how many other companies? Is there a huge need for recycling? Fill us in on the European consumer
Yeah,
and their habits.
there's definitely a big need for recycling of footwear. I would not know the numbers by heart because we didn't dig into it. But you see, if we talk to people, how eager they are to start joining and to make sure that the shoes are not going into waste and being thrown away and eventually end up into the environment. And you see it also with some movements. There's a recycling company here in the Netherlands that focuses on sneakers, but there's also recycling companies for safety shoes. So you see that whole movement is up and coming over there and that more and more people are getting into recycling. But the Netherlands and probably Germany are a little bit more focused on the recycling part in general, not only for footwear, but in general. But if you go a little bit more to the south, if you go to France, you go to Spain, you go to Italy, there's still a lot to gain. A lot of stuff will still end up in the landfill.
So is running stores the best place for the boxes? Where are the boxes getting placed in the Netherlands and Hague for
Yeah,
Sneaker Impact? Getting the
started
boxes.
with running specialty stores and specifically the Hardloopwinkel. But yeah, actually we're growing pretty rapidly right now. We
Okay.
started with 5. At the moment, we have 35 collection points
Okay.
A lot of running specialty stores, but also like more general sporting stores that are really interested. We see that there's definitely an interest, and people really like that the shoes are not thrown into landfill, but they are going to the microcredit companies. And they're like, yeah, we love to support that.
Yeah. Literally creating jobs, creating
Correct.
value, creating a sense of purpose for shoes that would have been worth nothing and actually would have been a liability. We have something in Miami called Mount Trashmore, and they will not allow new houses to be built anymore because they've exceeded the trash capacity.
Incredible.
And it's incredible and it's so sad. So 2 to 94% of Americans want to recycle, but only 13% are recycling shoes or footwear each year. But most Americans want to recycle in general. It needs to be made easy and simple, and it needs to be on Good Morning America or anything on TikTok
Yeah.
so everyone knows. But I wanted to ask you, what are some of the challenges you faced over the years in the running industry, but also with Sneaker Impact and your experiment in the Netherlands, and how are you overcoming any of these obstacles?
I think one of the biggest challenges that's out there in the footwear industry and in the sport good industry in general is how you become really sustainable. There's a lot of initiatives going on that are all really nice, and I think every initiative is good. Hey? Don't get me wrong, but I think that next level where you really start producing out of your own waste, that will be that next step where you become circular without shipping everything twice around the world. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges that we all have in general. And so as long as there's no real solution on that, it's fine. Doing something is better than doing nothing.
But it can be expensive to
Yeah.
recycle because you have to process the materials. We talked about that on a couple different episodes with Tamra, but also with other, when you recycle a water bottle, it takes a lot of energy to do that. And
Yeah.
there's a cost for that.
No, 100%. There's a lot of
So
cost
same thing for
involved. And I think water bottles is one of the examples that is out there. But you also see that for some products, they are producing water bottles to make sure that they can say that they're using reused water bottles. So there's also a whole industry behind it that wants to do it, but then
sure.
everything has to be like lined up.
They can mark it up. Yeah. And they'll mark up the price
Yeah,
once it's
correct.
recyclable.
And it's
Yeah.
also the consumer. Don't get me wrong. On the consumer side, we have done a test with Tom's where we had a really sustainable shoe, and we priced it up €5.
Okay. That's cheap.
That's cheap. So that was not like double the price. But then all of a sudden, straight away, you see resistance. And I think that it's getting way better, that people are willing to pay a little bit additional on top if it's like more sustainable. But that was one of the hurdles really to overcome. People were talking about it, but in general, the consumer was not willing to invest a little bit more on their spending to be more sustainable.
Yeah. I feel like that's improving in the last 20 years in the United States, at least. And every time I travel to Europe, it feels very green and overall much cleaner and sustainably run place than
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah. I think,
Speaking in generalities, but I've never been to the Netherlands. I'm so excited to have a friend there now.
well,
I've been to Germany a
moreover,
couple times.
do it in the summertime because now it's raining, cold, and in summertime, it's a good place to be here. But yeah, I think in general, everywhere, recycling, what you were saying, has to be easy for people. Doesn't have to cost too much money, and people have to
Imagine if it paid them.
yeah, we have a different system here, at least in the Netherlands, and I believe also in Germany. You pay how do you say that? You pay an statiegeld, we call it. And I'm trying to explain it. You pay like an additional 15 cents on your soda bottle,
Okay.
and if you return it, you will get the 50 cents back.
Amazing.
So
There you go. You're getting paid to return the bottle.
yeah, but you pay
Instead
for
of
it
throw it out
yourself.
the window.
So basically, they're pretty
Yeah.
smart because you pay your 15 cents markup, and then when you put it back in, you get your 15 cents back.
That makes sense though. It encourages consumer
Yeah,
behavior, and
and that's
we're
now
all
also
cons-
on the
yeah,
cans and on the smaller water bottles.
that's amazing. I know they have machines too in Europe that collect water bottles. You can just stuff it into them and they eat them up. They suck them in and then they give you money.
Yeah,
Right. That in Germany,
yeah.
Berlin.
It's in Germany, it's in the Netherlands. They are basically in supermarkets, but
Yep.
they're not that advanced because you throw them in, and someone will take them out on the other side and
Sure.
make sure that they're collected, that they're split up in what they should be,
Clean.
and that's how you get your money back. So you get your receipt and you go to the cash register, you pay for your groceries, and they deduct amount that you have.
My next question is, what's inspired you to keep going all these years with all these different brands? And you could be retired by now, it sounds like. Why are you still fighting the good fight?
It's just cool. It's just nice to be thinking about it, just trying to be creative, just to make a little bit of an improvement on an industry. I've worked in there for more than 30 plus years, and also helping retailers, because it's not like in the footwear industry yet, but in the apparel industry, the producers of the apparel are responsible for their own trash in Europe. That's a European law. They're responsible for their own trash. So they have to recycle. They have to take back their old clothing from consumer, and they have to take care that it is properly recycled, and so it doesn't end up in landfill. That's a new law, and that law will probably also come on footwear and all kinds of other stuff in Europe. And the first line is always the retailer, consumer facing. That's why you see that a lot of retailers are really interested in how they can tackle that problem up front, so that they can be on the forefront and not be running into issues, that they still have to adapt to what's coming from the European laws.
That's cool. What are you most excited about in the next couple of months? And do you have any projects you want to share?
I'm the most excited about getting Sneaker Impact on the map in Europe. The Netherlands is one of the smallest countries in Europe. Europe as a whole has so much potential. And we see that definitely countries where recycling is not on the forefront of people's mind. And that's where we have to start winning. And that's where we have to gain progress and make people aware that we can help them with Sneaker Impact. And that's a good thing about a lot of running specialty stores, but also about sports stores. They care about the environment because they practice their sports in the environment. Runners are always outside, but also lots of other sports are done outside. And people care about the environment and want to protect that environment. So it's a really easy connection to the end consumer. So the athlete in this case help us to get a better environment.
So it sounds like the European runners are very receptive to the Sneaker Impact mission and message, and the Netherlands has been a success. It sounds like a dream come true. So enjoy it and the wine along the way. What are your passions outside of running and the running industry? Are you a big beer drinker? Tell us about some of your other passions.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm a big beer drinker. No, definitely not.
No, I guess I'm from a German family, and beer is big in the US. So that's what I'm making assumptions.
No, beer is also big over here. Don't get me wrong, but
I went to Oktoberfest. Yeah, I know.
I rather enjoy a little bit of wine. So I'm more a wine guy than a beer guy. I definitely love to work out. I live very close to the beach. Love to do some.
Wait, there's a beach in The Hague?
Yeah.
Sand?
If I walk out of my little house over here, I straight away end up in the dunes. And 6 minutes later, I'm on the beach, sand beach.
So is it a lake or is it,
No.
Can you geographically align us? Is this the Atlantic?
It's the North Sea.
North Sea.
And it's separating the Netherlands from the UK.
Okay. So it's in the southern part of the UK?
Yeah. And it runs to France, and then it goes over into another ocean. Now we have a real sea, man. So if you're here, I will show you the beach and the sea. And you can go for a run on the beach for miles. I think if you go to the right side, you can do a 25K without getting off the beach.
That's great. So you like to stay active and
definitely.
Are you traveling much? What are your wife and kids? Are your kids still at home? Are they all?
Now, 2 of them are living on their own. They're both working at this moment in time. Jordi is still living here in the house. He's the youngest one. My wife is a teacher. So she's on the school here in The Hague. And yeah, we love to travel. And we love to travel in Europe, but we definitely love to travel in Asia. Not really good for the environment. I'm totally aware of that, but it's definitely a passion of us. And then we have a little dog that keeps us busy. And then most people don't know that for me, but I love to do kickboxing. Recreational, not like competition, but just recreational with some friends and work out twice a week with these guys.
That's amazing. That's so inspiring to keep active. And now Sneaker Impact being a social enterprise, it's really fun. We are for profit, but we are creating a lot of jobs. And sometimes that can be powerful to be profitable.
100%
more than not profitable. You can really do a lot in the local economy and work with a lot of different partners. And
that was the concept. I definitely learned at Tom's. Be for profit, but definitely being.
There's nothing wrong with being for profit.
No.
Yep. We got to make it make economic sense.
I think it makes it more sustainable, Brian, to be fair. If you are for
Okay.
profit and you still can do your social enterprise, you can still do your develop.
Proven the model. Yeah.
You're not depending on gifts. You have a budget to spend, and that makes it sustainable. And that is not you have to beg or you have to apply for money every single period of time and hope that you can do the work that you want to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's got to make fiscal sense to recycle, which it does. And one thing I learned is that nearly 3/4 of the world depend on the secondhand
Mhm.
market.
Yeah.
And in the US, a lot of people don't even think about that. I know I didn't. 'Cause everything you buy is brand new unless you go to Goodwill, places where you get secondhand things.
But that's what
You
you
buy.
also see here in the Netherlands and also in the countries around us, that the youth is definitely going more in the direction of secondhand. You have a whole
That's
movement
great.
that's doing secondhand shopping, but you even have e-com platforms that are totally
Okay.
focusing on secondhand, where you can buy for pretty cheap. You can buy secondhand clothing, but you can also offer your own clothing. And
Sure.
it's a really good movement that's going on, where people are buying less new, but definitely go for more secondhand clothing.
It's really exciting. It's really exciting to have your partnership in Europe. So thank you so much, Charles, for helping us. Are there any last thoughts you want to share today with the Sneaker Impact audience?
That's always I find that also so difficult question. But no, I definitely want to encourage everybody to use the tools that are around you to make sure that we have a better environment also for the future for our kids, and do as much as you can and try to make it as easy as possible. And I think Sneaker Impact is definitely helping in that.
Thank you so much for your time today, Charles. How can people follow you to stay connected with everything you're up to?
So we just found an Instagram account, sneakerimpact.eu. We just started that, and
Okay.
we have 19 followers.
I'm going to follow you today. So I'm going to share it in the description. We're going to blow up that account.
If people want to follow us, they're more than welcome.
And they can email you, Charles at sneakerimpact.com, if they want to connect, if they have any ideas, they want to get involved.
100%.
We'll share that in the description. Charles, it was so amazing to have you on the podcast today. Thank you for supporting the brand. And we're looking forward to having you in Miami to our new studio in the coming months.
Nice.
Bring Jordy back and we'll all go to a Heat game and the beach and swim in the Atlantic Ocean.
It's a
And
lot
then I'll come
warmer
and
out in Miami than it's over here. I can guarantee you
yeah,
that
it's
one.
85 here lately. It's the middle of the winter. But you do Celsius, so I guess what would that be, like 38 or really
Yeah,
bad?
you guys will be
45,
around
40.
38.
Is
And
it 38? Did I nail it on the
I
head?
think you nailed it pretty much. And we are around
Okay,
we are around 10 degrees. So
you're at 10.
what is that
Wow.
is that 830 Celsius?
Okay, come visit us in Miami because we have unlimited sunshine here. But we keep up the hard work in the Netherlands and The Hague. Say hi to Jordy for us, and we will see you soon. We'll have you on again to stay up to date.
Thank you for having me and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Charles. Bye.
Bye.